From Las Vegas, Nevada, and the National Association of Broadcasters Conference, welcome to another of our exclusive podcasts on the article Deal Killers, What Are They and How to Avoid Them, that appeared in 2017 in the Radio and Television Business Report. I'm Adam R Jacobson, and I'm the editor-in-chief of RBR and RBR.com, and with me are the authors of this article. Mr. Doug Ferber, the CEO of DEFcom Advisors, the Dallas-based media broker, is joined by Mr. Erwin Krasnow, a partner with Garvey, Schubert, Bearer. Also joining us for this discussion are the operating partners of community broadcasters, Bruce Mittman and Jim Leven, and they are joined by controller Peter Henderson. Their company owns and operates 46 radio stations in 8 markets. Hello, gentlemen, and it's great to see you once again for this latest podcast where we're going to discuss Deal Killer number 5, which is lack of preparation. What exactly is that? Doug, why don't you explain?
All right, I'll start again. The game is won in the locker room, literally. The perfect client for me is the guy who, or the group or the company that 2 years in advance, or even more than that, knows when they're going to take the company out to market. And along the way, I can help them to prepare for that event. They're not going out cold. They know exactly what to expect, the pool of buyers that are available, the market conditions, the availability of money, so that there aren't any surprises in terms of the process. On the sell side, on the buy side, the preparation helps you to know what you can expect to be able to buy things at and what kind of problems are out there in the market today. Bruce, Jim, you guys are much more aggressive on the buy side.
Yeah, but you know,
no, I mean you're aggressively looking for stations.
Yes,
is what I was
we
trying
are.
to
You know, on the other, this is where a broker is a critical partner and party to the party. You know, a good broker will look at your deal and help you if you're not that sophisticated as a seller or buyer, be able to kind of tutor, allow them to make mistakes without making those mistakes, and so therefore give them an insight into what are the best next steps to get a deal done, to operate. And so, you know, the relationship with the buyer becomes a really critical part of that, and so finding the right, as a broker is a really important element. So finding the right broker is a really important first step to help you organize your deal.
Also, I think, Erwin, you're an attorney that's seen thousands of deals. What do you tell your clients when you know that they're going to sell at some point? Do you warn them about what to expect in the process, do you not?
Yeah, you're talking just in terms of the seller?
Buyer or seller?
Yeah, we tell a lot more to the buyer in terms of protecting the buyer, because a lot of things can go wrong, and the lack of preparation can cause a lot of loss of money. As a communications lawyer, the role of the deal is to guide the client, and the client can do this themselves. They really don't need a lawyer, but the lawyer can just guide them. Is the FCC's website database is a treasure trove of information. Starting, if you're the buyer, is to look at the asset purchase agreement that the now seller was a buyer. You can find out what were some of the problems and what were some of the special concessions. And also you can tailor your deal to be, as far as the language itself, sometimes if it's a great buyer's contract, you just offer when you're buying the station, you offer the seller essentially the same contract. It's very difficult for the seller to say, this is outrageous, or I can't agree to this. It sometimes speeds up the process. And then one of the roles of the lawyer is just to give some heads up of what are problems ahead. For example, the FCC has been, over the years, and it's still true today, holding up processing assignment and transfer applications if there are indecency complaints. So one of the things that the buyer can do ahead of the FCC process is to find out whether there are any complaints pending against the station. The FCC doesn't make this public. You have to ask for it, and on a one-to-one basis they'll
Yeah, we had that
advise you.
problem in one of our deals, as a matter of fact, where there was not indecency, of all things, a payola complaint that was pending with one of the stations we were buying. And we had to get a so-called tolling agreement, and I got to tell you, it unfortunately cost a lot more in legal fees to get that done than we had anticipated. So, you know, that's something, to your point,
Yeah, I mean,
Erwin, you really got to
that's
look.
an important point that Jim is making. You know, a tolling agreement cost us a lot of money, and if you don't understand what you're getting into, especially with FCC laws, especially with FCC rulings, real estate rulings, you know, so many things come to play. If you don't have the proper attorneys, broker, real estate attorneys, you could end up spending a fortune beyond the expectations that you had for getting that deal done.
Right. It's not as though you know, anybody would advocate spending too much money on advisors or anything else. But on the other hand, if you don't have adequate representation and you don't spend enough money, it will cost you far more down the road.
I think the lesson here is that you don't want to go into a deal either as buyer or seller without preparing, because in the end it'll usually cost you more money than you expect.
Dramatically.
A topic related to preparation is one that I have a very strong emotional reaction as a lawyer. It's when the buyer and seller enter into a letter of intent that the broker prepares, or one they've seen before, and regard it as just a perfunctory document. It has a lot of meaning. It sets the tone, and there is an unwritten law, a commandment in broadcasting that says if you agree to a letter of intent, you can't change it later on. People sort of abide by that. It's bad faith if you sign a letter of intent and you want to change some of the terms. And to finish that off is that it only takes a relatively short period of time for a lawyer to review and to edit a letter of intent. And if the lawyer is not involved, he's stuck with the document in terms of preparing the asset purchase agreement.
So that covers deal killer number 5, and we invite you to learn about all the killers of broadcast station acquisitions in our subsequent segments of this podcast. From Las Vegas, I'm Adam Jacobson, and thank you to our participants, and thank you for listening. Have a great day.